still. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Happy Thursday. How's it going, everyone? Oh, we got some first timers in here, which is cool. Connor, glad to have you in here. Welcome in for the first time. Hal, hope I pronounced that right. Welcome in. I put some notes together. I wanted to start this off with the training, and then we'll jump into the Q&A. I think this will be hopefully valuable for any level of real estate media business owner. I prepped earlier with Kenny and the team and was just talking about like the things that have helped us grow our business. Obviously, my photo business, our photo business, Norman and Young. It's been around for a while. It's over 10 years now. I think we're going on 12, which is cool. During that time, you know, we've made millions of dollars from the business. And I was trying to like look back. Obviously, it doesn't start that way. Like nobody's starting that way. It takes multiple years, even in the fastest case, to get to a business that makes $1 million. But I was trying to like kind of synthesize what aspects of that are the most important. And I always try to teach one of those, because if it is going to be sort of a long game to get to any significant size of business level, you want to start playing that long game now. And so like, what are the things that now will set you up to have success in the short term? You know, whether that's 10K a month, you know, as you're growing your business the first year, whether that's, you know, 50, like people get to all kinds of different levels. And so I try to boil it down to like the one thing. And obviously, you know, I think the one thing that is very true, it's a statement that people often say, but I wanted to break down what it means to me, is your network is your net worth. I think everybody's heard that. It's a catchy thing to say, but it is true if you think about it. So it's like, okay, if your network is your net worth, like what does that mean for us as real estate photographers? So, Norman and Young, my business, the only thing that we have is the agents that know about us and choose to use us every time. It's not a business where contracts are done. Like the only thing that keeps agents using us and has allowed us to build our business, right, is it starts with one agent and then you add two, but you keep the first one, and then you add two more and you keep the first two. And so now you have four, and then you go from four. And so it is the network. But what does that look like in this business if your net worth is your network or opposite, right? And so it all starts with working to build that. And obviously that means creating a network of real estate agents. And so if you're thinking along those lines, if you say, okay, if you kind of reverse engineer it, you're like, if my network is my net worth and real estate agents are the network I've chosen to create because I want to make money through my real estate photo business, then you have to say, well, what is the best way to create that network? And this is where I think the thing that's allowed my business to grow fast and those that we help is we are big fans of using really we want to look for the best tactic possible to get the most chances to create that network, because we know that's what's going to grow our business. And so this is my long and roundabout way of saying the most important thing is to get as many agents as possible to use you. And I found that the best way to do that is to offer a free first shoot. And there are a lot of people who, especially in the photography industry, but I think generally, there are a lot of people who will say like, I know my worth. I won't devalue myself like that. And I think a lot of times when they say I won't devalue or I know my worth, they're saying things that you think would be quantifiable, right? Like, okay, so for example, value is something you can measure. Worth is something you can measure. But when they say those things, it's zero measurements involved. It's all emotion. And so that's where you want to be careful. Obviously, emotion as a business owner, it never really helps anybody, good or bad emotion. It makes you make silly decisions. And so if you think about it that way, it's like when people say that, it's not fact-based. I like to be fact-based and I like to make my decisions on numbers. And when I say I like to, I've learned that that's required if you want to grow. And so someone posted something in our community. One of our coaching clients said, last week I had a free shoot with a new client. He didn't say anything after I delivered. So he did a free shoot. He delivered it. The client didn't say anything. And he continues on to say, but turns out he loved it. I just got an email. He scheduled my middle package without even talking about prices. Yes, finally, a customer that's reactivated, and they said they'll take $450. There's another one. I didn't bring it in front of me, that someone said basically the same thing happened, but then they got a call from another agent who had referred them. And turns out that initial agent had referred them to the whole brokerage. So when I say giving away free shoots, I'm not saying don't make money. Like we have the joke, and people have said it's like everybody kind of beats around the bush. And it's like, dude, I'm in real estate photography for the money. That's why I'm doing this, right? Like, and if everybody that does it is honest, yeah, sure, you can like it, but like you wouldn't do it if you weren't paid. Nobody here would, right? So like, I mean, maybe if you're here and you're just so passionate about real estate photography, you would do it for free. Let me know. We'd love to have you work for Norman and Young. But apart from that, like even the people that say like they spout these things about how they won't do that, like they are in it for the money. They haven't realized that if you go for the short money, you prevent the long-term money a lot of times, or you exchange the short-term money for the long-term money. So when I said at the start of this, I want you guys to plan and do things that create the long-term success for you. This is one of those things. Gene, what you said is exactly what I was going to go to next. Is a lot of people will say, they won't devalue themselves, but then those same people will spend money on ads. They'll spend money to sponsor events. They'll spend money, gulp on magazines, things that don't work. They're easy to give their value to other people. Oh yeah, this is perfect. It's really interesting. Perfect point, Michael. They'll spend all that money on other people, but they won't, in my opinion. It's like spending it on yourself if you offer a free first shoot, right? You're instead of saying, hey, I want to give somebody else my marketing dollars, I want to give myself my marketing dollars. And the reason I want to do that is because I think I'm the best at spending my own marketing dollars. What I mean by that is if a free shoot isn't the best marketing for your business, probably fix that first. Like, do you know what I mean? Apple, they market, but also everybody wants to buy a dang iPhone because it's good. And so it starts with that. Is like, if your free shoot if you're like, man, I give away free shoots and nobody comes back, this sucks as a way to get clients. Maybe don't blame the method, blame the product you delivered that made them not want to come back. And so,
I mean, I was gonna say what you were talking on Apple. They actually do offer free stuff. Like they offered 3 months of free Apple Music, and it's been a year, and I've been on the subscription for ever since, and I've actually paid for it. But like, yeah, I mean, they even do free stuff because they know they're gonna get you hooked on that, and it's like, yep, I guess it's worth paying that.
Yeah, it's just interesting too, because I think the one thing, and I brought this up, but I just want to like say it again, because if I was on the other side of the screen just starting, I would want someone to say this to me, because I didn't think like this at the start, right? I try to be very transparent about how I feel like the reason I have a successful business is because I did everything wrong. And you're like, oh, great, fine. Like you have a successful business still. What everybody doesn't see is literally like 9 or 10 years that I didn't do any social media stuff. And I just ran a terrible business, right? Like, and it got better by the 9th year. It was great. But it's like, the reason I try to talk so much about the mistakes is because if you can learn from my mistakes, you'll do the same thing I did in less time. And that's really important. And I think it's worth trying to make happen, right? Like I now try to go out of my way to say like, hey, I don't want to learn this the hard way. Like, what is somebody that has already done this the hard way so that I can do not the hard way? And so, yeah, back to the whole thing. Emotion is one of those things that you have to get rid of as a business owner. And when I say get rid of, you will still feel it. You have to remove it from your decision-making. And the way you do that is by identifying when you have emotion and not letting that impact and going and just telling yourself, hey, like I'm feeling really excited right now. I'm probably going to make a sloppy decision that's way too optimistic. Or, hey, I'm feeling really down about my business. Probably not a good time to make a decision about marketing, because if you're feeling down about your business, you're probably going to be in a scarcity mindset and you're not going to do things that expand. And so just even going like, hey, I'm feeling fearful, that tells me that I probably need to be more aggressive with something that I'm considering, because my fear is going to bring that back. So you learn to work with that, right? And so again, with emotion, when people say, I don't want to devalue myself, I know my worth, they are kidding themselves into thinking that these are metrics that they're thinking about. I'm thinking about the numbers. Value is a number. Worth is a number, right? You can measure worth, net worth. You can measure things like that. So when they say that, it's just very interesting. I want you to think about that every time. This is not like an us versus them thing. Like everybody has this to some extent, just really important to keep in mind. And so
I encourage you. Thing as well. Oh, go for it. I was going to say it's an ego thing too. It's just they could have the fear that they may actually not have any worth. And so they're actually trying to put that out there saying, I have worth. Therefore, I'm not doing this for free because that has no worth.
Yeah. It was like, see if I can find the thing that Edwin, one of our clients, posted that I loved it. He was talking about his success in business. Let me find it. He just hit a 14K month. And he published that. Dang, let's see if I can find it. But basically, he was sharing that he had just hit a 14K month, and his business is going great. He started at the beginning of this year. So at the beginning of 2024, he started at $0. And he was like, and in that time, I've given away $20,000 worth of free shoots. But look how fast that paid back. It wasn't even like, obviously maximizing the long-term value is great. Like that's how you make the money. But it wasn't even long-term. Like he gave away these free shoots, but he's already 9 months, 10 months into his business, making $14,000 per month. So it's like, it's already paid back. It's really interesting. I will say though, one thing, and thanks for bringing this up. The thing that a lot of people say, they don't have a cost of sale, but they do kind of, if you count like the editing cost and the driving time. And that makes a lot of people go like, I don't want to do that. But you have to consider that marketing. It's marketing money. It's the best marketing dollars you'll ever spend too. And if not, like we were talking about, if it's not, it's a really good indicator you need to work to grow your business. This is another absolutely true thing that Isaac on my team is bringing up. So when you give free value, the recipients may feel like they owe you. That's a good thing in my opinion. Yeah, it's there's this book, I forget the book title. I think it's like the 9 mental triggers, but it's like these things that we respond to as humans. And one of them is reciprocity. So it's like someone did something for you. You kind of feel like you owe them. Now works in this case, right? And that's why you see a lot of agents that will be like, they'll take you up on the free shoot, but they'll pay you anyway, which is super cool. Or if you do the smart thing, Tyler, another one of our coaching clients who's built an awesome business, Tyler Graham, he got really good at saying like, hey, here's the free shoot. If you want to add any of these other services on, you can get them for 50% off. And they would reciprocity, call it whatever you want. Maybe they just wanted those services. He would turn free shoots into paid shoots and still get the client. And so when we say free shoots, it's not because I don't want anybody that I work with to make money. I actually want you to make money the fastest way possible. And Kenny's found this. I found this. Everybody on our team that's coaches has found that free is always the fastest way. with that being said, what is everybody's questions? Jump in there. What's that?
A lot of new people here.
Yeah. Mark is new. Welcome in, Mark. Glad to have you here. All right, let's go back up to the top and see. Kevin, good to have you in here. Another guy who just built an incredible business fast using free and a lot of effort. Okay, let's see. Let's scroll down. If you know you already have a question, it doesn't have to be on topic necessarily. Drop it in there. We got at least 45 more minutes to hang out, so we're gonna make sure everybody's question gets answered. Here we go. Ty said, did a free shoot for a realtor a couple of weeks ago. Then the same realtor reached out this week, tried to get another free shoot. He claimed that the last one is for his partner. I mean, that's funny, first of all. But yeah, I mean, you could do it. It depends on where your business is at. Do you have any thoughts on that, Kenny?
I was going to say, just do it. It sucks. And I know the ego or the person inside of you is just like, no, but I already did a free shoot for him. Yeah. You never said it was your partner, but suck it up, do it. Like Isaac was saying, he'll owe you one, and just move on from it. Make him happy.
Yes, make him happy, because here's what you do. We were talking about this the other day, Kenny. It's like I think it was on one of my coaching calls actually too. Okay, so like, yes, this guy might be trying to take advantage of you. Then what, right? So you have a choice in this scenario. We've decided with our business and the way we teach, we always pretend that they're not taking advantage, and we just say, "Yep, let's do it." And guess what happens sometimes? We get taken advantage of. But guess what happens more than most of the time, right? Is we don't get taken advantage of. We have an awesome business. So whenever people say like, oh, like you must get taken advantage of all the time, or they're like, oh, that doesn't work. You got to show your clients who's boss. I'm like, I think the amount of money that I make from this makes me feel never taken advantage of, right? And so it's just like a math problem. I don't mean that like in a prideful way. I'm saying like my business, Norman & Young, has grown because we have always tried to prioritize making the client happy. And so when people who have a smaller business, and this is not like, oh, you have a big business, you're always right. It's like when people have been doing this longer and they have a smaller business and then they're like, no, don't do that. It's like, well, what's the proof? Like, do you know what I mean? That's the thing I like about business is the numbers don't lie. And so it gives you good data. And again, this is from someone who does not think they do everything right. And I literally talk all the time about how my business is built on the pile of my mistakes. And I don't want that to be something you have to go through. And so just think about it that way. Like, it's just such a, if you side that way, sure, you'll get taken advantage of sometime, but more than not, you're going to get a lot more value for your business.
And I just another thought, even if he's actually trying to take advantage of you, the fact that you just say, yeah, I'd be happy to do it, and actually show like good effort, good emotions and everything, he may actually feel bad and be like, dang, I do owe him one.
Yes.
What's on me?
The reciprocity is going to build up and he's going to be like, oh, also look at this. Michael said 75% of my free shoots have enough add-ons to make a few bucks. So he's profiting on his free shoots. If you think about this, most businesses pay to get clients, right? They run ads, they do whatever. It's really cool if your business pays you to get clients. And so even with offering free, that happens sometimes, right? Here's another one. Steve said, I've offered quite a few free shoots. Interestingly, I've never had a $0 invoice. Sometimes we just have to ask. Absolutely agree. Darlene, keep it up. Andrew, wins are always allowed in here.
He does have a win.
He does.
Oh,
we both clicked it at the same time. Andrew, congratulations. Screenshot it. It's like your first dollar, you know? You might not have a physical dollar to frame, but you did it. That's awesome. Who else has a win? We start all of our company internal meetings with wins. Like we just share coaching client wins. Best way to get your head in the right place. Focus on the things that matter. So let's do it in here. Share your wins. Who had something big happen in their business this week or month? I mean, it doesn't have to be big, right? It can just be a good thing. Share it. Let's get some in here. With 73 people listening, all 73 can find something that went well this week with their business. So share it in there. All right, let's see. Robert, I forget how to pronounce this guy's last name. Cialdini, I don't know how to pronounce it, but talks a lot about the law of reciprocity and influence. Yeah. Influence. There's another book, Persuasion by Robert. I'm trying to think if I say it, if I'll remember how to. Anyway, yeah, those are tough reads though. Those things are long.
This is a good one. I have a 3-property day tomorrow. The first one.
How much money is that? Probably like $700, right? If your average order value is $250, it should be $750.
Do you remember back to those days, Eli, of just like actually starting to see those days, you're just like, oh, 3 days.
Wait, I missed the first part. What'd you say?
I was like, do you remember those days of just being like, oh shoot, my calendar is actually filling up. Like, oh, I have 3 days now, or three shoots today, and like 4 shoots.
You know what's weird? I don't remember. Like, I remember one day specifically where I made $800. It was a little over 800, and that like every entrepreneur I think has this pivot point where they're like, this is working. And you'll have multiple of them, I think, if you stay in the business long enough. But like that was my first one. I was like, $800. I've told the story before, but like I went and talked to my parents. I lived with them at the time, so I came up and I was like talking to my dad. Was like, I can't afford you anymore, and I was like, that's crazy, because I used to do work for him. So yeah, it's a cool thing. Unless people have okay, there was a bunch of wins. I gotta find them. Hold on, I'm almost back to it. Okay, we did this one first 3 property day. My photographer went to her first page shoot yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Congrats. Glad to see you in here again. It's cool to see you in coaching on my calls too, face to face.
He took action. I think a week and a half ago, or maybe last week, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, he was asking for help about this.
Yeah, and he did it. And now they're shooting. It's crazy. Caleb said I had my first $500 day yesterday. Congrats. Halfway to a 4-figure day. Good work. I quit my day job. Big win. First, when I read that, I was like, this is short. It can't be a big win. Then I was like, that's a big win. Congrats, Chris. How are you feeling? Are you like nervous? Are you super excited? Are you everything? Andrew said another win. Just got my backup gear for free. My mate lended me his pro setup. Nice.
Nice.
Oh, look, this is the 3 shoot a day person, 850. So your average order value is great. I mean, it's good, at least like 270, 260.
It's really good.
Oh, more than that. Like, yeah, 265. Congrats. Had my first 10K gross month. Now I just have to figure out how to repeat it. You shouldn't have too much trouble is the good news, because I mean, you might go down a little bit next month, but that's the nice thing about real estate media. How long has it taken you to get to that? That's awesome. Got my second client. Oh, go for it.
Oh, the same one. I was about to read that one. Yeah.
Got my second client. She already booked 2/3 more shoots. One of the, okay, I see what you're saying. One of them is tomorrow, $800. Jeez, Victor. Congrats. I don't know if anybody saw this. I posted on my story a couple days ago. It's like something that's it's at least been true for me always, like without fail, which is the life you want, or put anything in place. The life you want, the result you want, the things you want are always behind the thing you don't want to do or you aren't willing to do. And so for a lot of you here, my guess, there's like going to be roughly 2 groups of people. One of them, and if this is you, just try to let this resonate. One of them wants to start this business. You're here because you want to start a real estate media business, but you come to the lives and you watch videos, but you haven't necessarily done the first step because you're nervous about it and you don't feel ready. If that's you, that's normal. Nobody feels ready on their first shoot. There's a quote I like about courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's taking action despite your fear. And so I would just encourage you, if you're like, let these wins motivate you. This is why wins are good to share, right? Because like Victor doing this and getting that $800, somebody in here is like, oh, I got to do it, And so hopefully that's you today, so you can just start, because there's no amount of prep that's going to make you feel super ready. And then there's a group in the middle that's like doing it and they're getting started. Victor, you're in that group. Congrats. There's another group who's stuck at 15K a month and they know they need to hire. And that's the next point in your business that's just as scary as the day you first start. And so if you're that person, think about the goals you have for your business. If you want a $50,000 per month real estate media business, it's impossible to do on your own, right? Or it's very, very slim chances. You have to be in a market with incredibly high average order value. And so it's required. You just have to. So let that push you, the life you want, the business you want, the schedule you want. It's on the other side of the things you don't want to do. And so if you use the things you don't want to do as an indicator of what you should do, it makes it really easy to figure out what to do next. That makes sense. Like if I think about my business, what's the thing I don't want to do? And then I just go, that's probably what I should do. It's almost always right. I talk, had that conversation is in my head all the time. And I try to make a point to think about it. So Tyler, what's up? Yeah, we have released it publicly, haven't we, Kenny?
We have, yeah.
We have. Do we have the link? So we do our conference every year. This is the 3rd year we're doing it. It's in Vegas, and the dates are on this page. I'll put the link, or Mr. Kenny, Mr. West, as we call him. We'll put the link in the chat. We'd love to see you there. It's a great event, if you're just starting or if you already have a business. So some awesome success stories from the event. It's a great place to surround yourself with other people doing this. This year we're expecting probably 225 people or so. We're doing this. So it's it's small, but it's big enough to talk to a lot of cool people. So you can check that out in there and that link in the chat. There's a really cool story, actually. Colleen posted it in our Facebook group earlier, and we got permission to share it. And I was going to share it on my story, but I thought I would read it here. It's a really cool story and maybe a win that we can share from our end that I think is really awesome. Colleen's built an incredible business, and I got to find this one because it's like one of my all-time favorite success stories. One of our all-time biggest success stories. So I'll just read it. Colleen posted, officially 2 years in business, and what an incredible, challenging, and rewarding ride it's been. We're a husband and wife team. We had no experience in real estate media. My husband had never touched a camera in his life. We bought Eli's course. My husband learned to shoot in his off hours while I ran the business working remotely in a corporate job. Just wait for this. It's crazy. We made a commitment to go all in and give ourselves no excuses. Seeing other people in this group have success told me that I should screen share. This would be like more powerful if you could read it at the same time. Let me see if I can do that. Okay. Present. How do we do this? Screen share. Select the tab. Here's the tab. Share. Kenny, can you see the screen?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we made a commitment to go all in and give ourselves no excuses. Seeing other people in this group of success told me there's no reason we couldn't do it either. We went to the 2022. So this is our first conference. They were 3 months into business and they'd made $1,500 total. 5 months in, they hired a VA. 5 to 6 months in, Tim, Colleen's husband, quit his job. She quit her job 12 months in. Only 11 months in, we hired our first photographer. And then they came to our conference last year, a year in, and they'd already reached 100K. They went from 0 to 100K revenue in a year. 100K brought in, not 100K run rate, 100K brought in. They hired a different photographer. They hired 2 to 3 more photographers. They went on a trip to Europe for 3 weeks, and the VA ran the business. They had some time to think while they were gone. They hired 4 more photographers, and they came back, and they're on track. They're up 223% year to date. This is the cool thing. In 2025, they're expecting and probably will hit well over 7 figures. So that's like 2.5 years into the business, which is just crazy. And obviously, I'm not saying if you go to the conference, you're going to do that, right? But that's it's a good jumpstart point and something to do to like really get your motivation up. So I'm glad you brought that up, Tyler. That seems like that was planned, but I promise it wasn't. So anyway, we'd love to see you there. Totally understand if you can't make it to Vegas, but it's a great event. All right, where are we at? What should we do now, Mr. West?
Questions. I saw a really good one. Where's it at?
It
was about saturation. Saturated market. My favorite. Okay, here it is. How would you push into an oversaturated market with an already large amount of photographers? And I think it's just, my opinion is just perspective. You can think of it in a positive way, meaning like a lot of these agents actually appreciate real estate photography. And so one way to push is just continue doing what we teach. So Instagram method, same outreach, same everything. Don't think about your market being oversaturated. Just think about it as the agents actually appreciate real estate photography. So they're probably going to be more inclined to accept my offer.
Yeah, I agree. I think on the, so that's the mindset side. On the numbers side, I would probably challenge you to look into what data made you think it was oversaturated. Like, because there's no way to actually figure that out, right? It's just maybe you saw photographers there. People said they already use a photographer. Something made you think that. And I will just say, we've never seen somebody yet where market saturation was actually holding their business back, right? That was not the thing that didn't, like, that's not preventing success. Maybe an obstacle, sure. But like most of the time when people say, oh, it's a saturated market, and then that's impacting their business, what really impacted their business is them thinking it was a saturated market and not doing anything. So this is not me attacking you at all, Zach, but like, is this preventing you? Is this thought, has this ever prevented you from taking action on something? My guess is yes. And that right there is why an oversaturated market can be dangerous. That's why Kenny like had a mindset solution to it, which is like, well, probably you thinking it's oversaturated is going to make you not do things. And it's not like I'm not saying this is like some manifest nonsense, whatever, right? I'm saying this is purely tactical. If your brain goes, it's not possible, you don't do the actions that make it possible. It's not you believing it that makes it possible. It's because you believe it, you take an action that then has a result. Yeah. So, I mean, shout out to you for being honest, Zach, but it does for everybody, right? It's like the same thing with anything. People will say, oh, real estate agents don't use photographers in my market. And maybe it's true, but maybe the way to rephrase it is, so far, real estate agents haven't used a professional photographer, which means it's going to be, you finish a sentence, which means it's going to be easy for me to break in. And so it's really interesting. It's always like people will think something and then it actually causes them to have that problem. And the reason is just because of the actions they took after they had that thought, which is interesting. Stokage says, what does the first 6 months and then the first 12 months look like for someone starting out? Yeah, I mean, this obviously depends on how much you do. We in our program think that anybody in the first 6 months who does the work will get to a minimum of $5,000. Keyword being does the work, right? Like this is, it's like a gym. If you go to the gym, you'll get the result. If you don't go to the gym, you probably won't get the result. And so I would say that like, if you're going all in, and this would be following our roadmap. So this would be someone we're working with, right? If you do it on your own, it's obviously going to be slower, and that's the value of working with us, but not impossible. So I would say like, if you're not at 5K, you really need to like introspectively go, what did I not do? Because there's no reason you should do that. A lot of people have gotten there a lot faster, if that makes sense. As far as 12 months, I mean, that's where you really start to depend on execution. So like Colleen, for example, they did 100K by 12 months. Kevin, I don't know what he got to, but I mean, it was in the at least 30K a month. Like Tyler, I mean, Warren. Yeah. What did Warren get to in a year?
35K a month.
35, 40.
35, 40.
Yeah. Now I would say that is not average. That is absolutely not average. That is aspirational. But I would say that those people that did that, they didn't expect it either. So you don't want to self-exclude. Like, I think it's a good idea to like shoot for a big target. Like, I'm going to do 40K a month within the first year, because worst case, you don't hit it. That didn't change anything, right? So it's like, you don't, it's better to like fall 50% short of a 50K goal than it is to make a 5K goal, in my opinion. Yeah, Sydney. So they'll do like a guide. They'll do a setup for you. There's also a course when you join Spiro that's given for free that shows you how to set it up. If you email them and ask for the like setup course, they'll get you access. But when you sign up, it should give it to you automatically, and it's free. I film the videos. That's how I know it's there. Let's see. All right, I'm searching for another question. If you have a question, drop it in the chat. How do I make my photos look better, both composition wise and editing? I feel kind of lost and I feel my shots aren't that good. How are you shooting? Let me know your process a little bit. Is it 3 bracket and are you outsourcing the editing, or tell me what you're doing specifically? More info and I'd be happy to help. Yeah, for sure, Sydney. They'll be able to help you. Todd, the founder, has built a great team and they're good. So reach out. Michael said, seems like my question is too specific. Where's your question, Michael? Oh, here we go. I found it. Sorry about that. Question, how are you paying your photographers for their vehicle usage? I remember you say they have a $500 vehicle allowance. Are you still paying them 67%? Yeah, that's an old system we used to do. Now we pay an inflated hourly rate that covers it plus 30 cents per mile. So that's how we pay. If you have employees, if you're at that level, you need to, in my opinion, check with like a CPA or maybe a lawyer in your state to make sure that the way you pay is legal, because you don't want to like pay people wrong. And if you're at the point where you can afford to hire, you can afford an hour of a lawyer's time or an accountant's time.
Tyler.
Last year was 43K for the year. Currently sitting at 141K for the year so far. Numbers don't lie. Kevin said month 5 we did 9K. Saw Colleen post a win that they did 15K. Locked in and hit 15K in month 6. Still chasing Colleen. When I started, I thought it would take at least a year to hit 10K. Yeah, Kevin, Colleen is I think probably this year we'll beat Norman and Young's revenue. Maybe not quite, but next year probably will. It's awesome. That's the ultimate thing. People are like, oh, like you gotta have. My ultimate goal is that people do beat my success, right? Like that's awesome. Good question. So you guys say going all in. What does that mean to you guys? Is that working 20, 40, 80 hours a week, or someone who's actually taking the info and applying it despite what objections they may have? Yeah, that's a really good question. So mostly someone who's actually taking the info and applying it despite their objections. That's the biggest part of that. And so we work with a lot of people who have a full-time job. So we look for at least 15 hours a week to hit our minimum requirements. Usually takes about that long if you're actually taking the info and applying it despite what objections you might have. So people will have like ways of doing it better. They'll be like, my market's different, or like all this stuff. And maybe, but like not, it's usually not the case. So if you apply that, if you apply like just doing the stuff we lay out, which again, every time I say that, I'm like, I don't want people to think I'm saying do that because it's my way. I'm saying because I did everything wrong, that's the way I've determined works the best. And then I've had a bunch of people go through the process of, that's why we know it works. If you do that and then you apply a ton of work to it, that's how you, Kevin and other people like that, Tyler, he just does it. He gets the work done. There's some great people in the program.
Something that Tyler mentioned when he was on a call here with us. He was just like, yeah, I just went for it. I don't even check. I just do it.
Yeah.
And that's what I've seen with people that succeed. It's just like, they just do it. Like, it doesn't matter where you're at. Just do it.
Is that like Justin in our program? He, I think he had a month in like the 12 or 14K range, but then his business had kind of gone back to like the 8K range. I don't know if you're here, Justin. I could be slightly off on that. But anyway, now he's a couple months later, he joined our Ford program, which is for people who are not just starting. It's like a typically 10 to 20K a month business owners. And now he's at 25K a month. And it's like, it's interesting because we've learned that, when I first started teaching other people, I was like, hey, maybe my market is different. Maybe my business is different. But like the more volume you do, you realize there just is like a path and there's things you should do and things you shouldn't do. And so like Justin's a great example of someone who just does everything. And then, we work with people. It's like, you got to pull teeth to get them to do something. And so if you could pick one of those personality types, like be the person who just does it. Yeah. Great question. Still Cage. 100% agree with Kevin here. How much time should I block out for a shoot like Norman Young middle package? Michael, it depends on how experienced you are and how long you've been shooting. I think that one takes an hour and 25 minutes out of our schedule. Could be slightly wrong on that. We adjust what's in the package all the time. Should take you about an hour to shoot. Let's see. Just taking photos for my portfolio. This is in response to Vink's question about getting better results editing. Because I haven't started yet, but yes, I take 3 brackets, and right now I want to focus more on composition and quality over the editing because I will outsource. Yeah, I mean, the editing is going to make that all look better. So I would send whatever photos you have to an editor and see what they look like. That'll be a really good way to make sure. Because like the photos that we send at Norman and Young to our editors look terrible, and then they come back looking great from the editor. Justin said, would photography alone be enough to start my business San Diego market? Planning on getting a drone gimbal once clients come and increase to offer more value. Yeah. So if you want to keep the budget as low as possible, you can definitely start with photography alone. A lot of people do. I think if you offer everything, you can very quickly justify it and get jobs from it. And so I would just say, if you're going to start with photos alone, I think I would suggest a goal being as fast as possible, adding the drone. We have like kind of an order we recommend for people we work with that are not wanting to do it all at once. So it'd be like photos first, drone second, video third, 3D tours fourth, unless there's a specific market reason to do it differently. But absolutely. Yeah. Still Cage, 100%. If you can do more than 15 hours a week, do it. Even if it like 15 hours a week is still a good amount. Like you can get a lot done in 15, but it seems like you're set up pretty well to make it happen more. A lot of the initial work is stuff you can do from home as well. It's a client outreach, setting up systems, like doing the boring work to get the base of the business built. So yeah, leverage that. I mean, you have a unique opportunity if you're able to. I know being a stay-at-home dad is not no work. I'm not saying you're just sitting home all day and you have all the time in the world, but like you won't have to leave the house for a lot of it initially, which is cool. Being completely transparent, once you start getting shoots, you obviously have to leave the house for every shoot. But yeah, that's cool. Let's see. I'm from mid-sized city, 350K residents from Central Europe. There are many real estate agencies, but many of them take their photos from themselves because they want to save on cost. Yeah, I mean, that's the case anywhere. So 350,000 people is a good amount of people. You're not going to have any population-related issues until you really scale your business. This is the main point that I like that you brought up. Those who have good photos seem not to be interested in changing their photographer. This is why we would approach it with a free shoot and a follow-up. maybe they're not interested in changing, but a free shoot makes them more likely to give you a try. And if you get that try, you need to whack that thing out of the park and do a super good job. They'll probably not give you a try right off the bat. That's why there's a little bit of a lag. You start doing the Instagram method, you have to wait. A lot of people go, oh, it doesn't work, and they stop. But what you're really waiting for is this person, their photographer to be too busy, their photographer to be booked out 2 weeks and they need to shoot tomorrow and you're right there, their photographer to quit, move to a different city. There's a lot of things. You just want to be ready. You want to be like,
even if they don't switch, they're going to refer you to other agents.
Good point. 100%. They'll like your, they're salespeople too as real estate agents. And so they will appreciate you following up, and you'll position yourself to quote unquote get lucky. But it's not luck, right? It's you just position yourself and you're at the right place at the right time because you always tried to be there and just happened to align one of those times. Oh, that sucks. It was stolen, Justin. Yeah, I'm glad you're confident with that already. That'll give you a leg up. Just, I would just go hard and get those first shoots, take the money from the first shoots, invest it in the drone, really go from there. Yeah, I like this one that Tyler said, sink or swim, baby. Offer A to Z from the start and figure it out later. Systems, gear, clients, etc. YouTube will be your friend if you get stuck. Yeah, 100%. There's it's funny. It's happened like a lot of times. So I'm trying to think of a specific scenario, but I'll get brand new coaching clients in my group call. And so like, if you've heard me do this to you, I hope it doesn't ruin the impact because it works. They'll be like, Eli, should I post all my services even though I've never learned how to do any of this? Should I just post it all on my website? And I'll be like, yeah, the chances of someone ordering it is so low. Just put it out there, offer it. And my favorite thing is when someone books their full package for the next day and they're like, Eli, you said that wouldn't happen. I'm like, well, you better take care of it, And so, and it's like my way of pushing, and it never gets people into an actual problem. But the nice thing is when someone orders an $800 package for the next day, you have a certain way of just getting it done. I've never seen someone be like, it didn't happen and it ruined my business. Like, you just figure it out. You stay up all night, you learn it. And guess what? Now your business is like light years ahead of where it would have been. And so I'm a big fan of what you said, Tyler, 100%. Like, you got to dive all in. And worst case scenario, you get a huge order. And that's not worst case scenario. That's the freaking goal. You know what I mean? And it just happened in a way that made you kind of uncomfortable. I use the Instagram method, but through Facebook because Facebook is dormant in my market. Or maybe you're saying you use Facebook because Instagram's dormant. Yeah, I mean, whatever place you want. I would say, like, I've not seen a market that I've seen personally where Instagram's actually dormant. Sure, like some agents, especially an older demographic of agents, are less likely to be on Instagram. That doesn't change. Like, there is agents on Instagram, and we just found Instagram works better. I still haven't found a market where Facebook actually works better when Instagram's done right. Just way easier to search on Instagram, so you can do more volume too. Let's see. Yeah, what's the Instagram method? I hear you mention it, but don't explain. So the Instagram method is the way we help our clients get clients that are real estate agents. So from a high level overview, you create an Instagram account, and it needs to be set up properly because it needs to act like your 24/7 virtual salesperson. So if you go to my YouTube channel, which you're probably watching this on, and you go to the lives tab and scroll down, you'll see I've done it. I think we've done it 3 times.
We've done it 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've done an Instagram profile critique that will show you how to set up your Instagram account from scratch. You don't need to get a ton of followers. It's not the point. You just set up the Instagram. So that's step 1. Step 2 is find real estate agents. We recommend searching hashtags. Hashtag Dallas Realtor will find you real estate agents in Dallas. You follow those agents and you engage with them, comment on their posts, that kind of stuff. And then you send them a message offering a free first shoot. So that's what the Instagram method is. There's definitely like a lot to it. So like, just do it right. Put in effort. If you just spam people, you're not going to get good results with it. The way we do it is we have a system for our coaching clients where they put in the names and it generates a custom message every time that helps prevent getting banned on Instagram. And we help them film video DMs to send along with it and dial in the engagements and the follow-up. We have like a CRM that tracks it all. So that's how I'd recommend doing it. Are you laughing at this one? I mean, people always have their opinions, right? I built my business off the Instagram method. Felt many clients build their business that way. So everybody has their opinions. I think useless is, I try not to say stuff like that about other people's methods because it's just like, I mean, it's not useless, right? Like so many people have done it and done it well. I've tested everything. The thing that's most important to me is speed when I'm helping people, because when you're trying to start a business, you want paid shoots as fast as humanly possible. For me, it's just the Instagram method is the fastest way to do that. So that's why I recommend it. Okay, let's see. Danielle and I are just looking to grow our business to 10K a month. We both have jobs and this is our side hustle. We've only hit about one half this on a semi-consistent basis. Any ideas and tips? Dan, what are you doing for client acquisition? Like what kind of outbound are you doing? How are you trying to get clients? Because I don't mean this in like a duh way, but like if you're halfway to your goal, you just need twice as many clients. And so we need to like do the math and reverse engineer getting you twice as many clients.
Jared likes to say this a lot and I agree with it. Like come up with a number as your goal. Once you hit it, maybe, go part-time on your full-time gig, your full-time job, and eventually just like quit and go all in your real estate media business. But like I was saying, like you're halfway there. So we just got to do more client acquisition.
Yeah. Well, and the other side of that could be maybe you're getting a lot of clients, Dan. I always like to start with acquisition because I think most people who want to grow are limited by new clients. Some people are limited by their ability to keep clients though. So like there's two ways to grow, right? You can increase the number of clients coming into your business or you can reduce the number of clients leaving. And if you do both at the same time, that's where fast growth happens. And so that's why I asked that, Dan. So if you're like, man, I'm getting 30 new clients. First thing I would say is track it. You should track how many new clients you get per month. It's the first thing we do with anybody in Forward is we have them fill out reporting because numbers don't lie. And numbers give us, it's like you get a blood test to diagnose an issue with your body. Numbers are how you diagnose an issue with your business. And so that's what I would say. Like if you're getting 30 new clients a month and you're staying the same, well, you're losing 30 clients a month too. So we got to fix that. It's like the hole in the bucket analogy. I admire that you guys never bash anyone else's approach. There are a lot of ways to build a successful business. Yeah, 100%. I heard this quote. I think it was, I don't know. I want to attribute it to who it was, but it was like, there are two ways to build the tallest tallest building in town. One is to go tear down everybody else's building. And two is to focus on building yours. And so like, I'm a super competitive guy. I want to build the tallest building around. I just think that my way to do it is to focus on my building and not tear other people's buildings down. So I think it's like, I always think of this. If I lived the life they live, I would probably do the things they did and believe the things they do. And so it's like, of course they do that. Their life has like shaped them into believing that. So that's my approach. But I'm a build the taller building kind of guy. I still want to beat everybody. I just don't want to tear down their building to do it. Let's see. Also, on that note, sometimes when other people get close to building a building your size, that's the best motivation to build yours higher. So it's the way you can use competition to your advantage. Let's see. I was gonna say that. I actually think I heard it years ago before Hormozy was on the scene. I think it was Gary V. I can like picture him saying it. Let's see. I think I'm missing. Oh, there's a first part of that question. You just need to practice more ultimately. I have videos on it on my channel, so watch my composition videos. But I would say the biggest thing is start doing shoots for agents and let them give you critiques and help. A lot of people spend a lot of time on stuff that doesn't matter. And, I don't know you. I don't know what you've done, Vink, but I think from your questions, you're spending a lot of time on stuff that doesn't matter. And again, I say that with full respect. I want you to do well in this business. I think you need to stop focusing on this. You need to send your photos to an editor and you need to get agents to give you feedback. You can't give yourself good enough feedback.
I think that's the issue that you're going to solve is once you send it to an editor, you're going to realize that your photos are actually good enough. Yeah, you can get better, but it doesn't mean that should hold you back from actually like going all in and starting your business. So like I was saying, outsource it now, like the photos that you have, and then just see tomorrow. You're going to see that they're actually good.
Yeah. Accurate TL said, what is the cost of launch and forward coaching? So there's not a set price. It depends on where you're at geographically, like what we can help your business get to. It also depends on if you already have a business. There's different levels. So like not everybody needs the same thing. And that's the value of coaching. It's like not a glove that fits everybody. It's like, we got to make the glove for you. And so that's why it's not just like, hey, join here. We have people on the team whose job is to talk with you and make sure that you might not be a fit, right? And I don't mean that like, oh, I'm trying to sell you by telling you you're not a fit. It's like some people's business model or what they're trying to do isn't what we can most help. So that's the first thing we need to see. The other thing that's true is there are some markets that are not great for real estate media. So in the US, every market is good enough. It might be too small population. And then in some parts of Europe where we also coach, real estate is just done a little bit differently. So the industry is different. But yeah, Aaron on the team can chat with you about that and just like dive into your market and your goals and that kind of stuff. Let's see. Nice, Michael. That's awesome. He said, I'm colorblind and made it as a photographer. You'll be fine. All right. Let me see. What do you do with a top agent, 60 plus listings a year that they have a worse photographer currently reach out to multiple times and offer free, but they never get back to you? Okay, Christian. So for everybody, this is exactly why the price isn't super important and quality doesn't so much matter, right? You have to be good enough. But what Christian is saying is good. A lot of people spend so much time trying to become the best photographer, and then they run into situations like this. I'm not saying you've done that, Christian. I just love the point that you brought up. It's like, man, I'm so good. Why are they not using me? It's like, well, because the things you thought make you good are different than how they judge good. And so good is relative. So like quality is one thing. It has to be good enough, right? But a lot of photographers spend so much time on that thinking that's the way in. But what if it's loyalty? What if this person goes out of the way every time, Christian? They always do a good job. They're not the best photographer. They show up on time every time. What if they're not the best photographer, but they show up on time every time? They're always willing to clean the house. They have a great relationship with the owners, with the real estate agents' clients. They treat the clients like gold. They never, charge any fees for nonsense. They're accommodating as can be. Of course, you're not going to lose the business. That's what makes this business so awesome when you do that, is because your clients become sticky to you. So a couple things. One, you may just never get this client. I'm not saying you shouldn't try, but you already are trying, which is good. Two, maybe that photographer, they retire next year. So you want to keep following up, but you have to understand that like this, you not being able to just win clients that fast also makes it your business better in the long term, because they can't just win clients from you that fast. A reply to my questions, please. Hang on. Let's see. I think this is it. I'm based in London. It seems most people here are based over in the US. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the reason is because we have a big US audience, because I'm in the US and it's a bigger market. We coach people in the UK and it's virtually the same exact thing. There's some minor differences, but any of my advice is gonna be a help for you, I would say. All right, let's see. Sarah, we do not do contracts in real estate media. We have a terms of service, but one thing you'll see, like with any real estate media company that does volume, is that there's not contracts. And I know that sounds crazy if you're coming from like wedding photography or portraits or anything. It's just not how it works with real estate. Used to be the case like 10 years ago. No one does contracts anymore. Let's see. I have a friend who's super into photography like myself. Would it be a better idea to go into this together or separate? What would be advantages or disadvantages? Ooh, really good question.
I mean, I would say make sure, if you decide to go to partner up with someone, just make sure they have a skill that you don't have, or like something that you don't have. You both can't be the same person, or else like, I don't know why you're partnering up. Like, might as well just do it yourself. That's my opinion, is like you just got to partner up with somebody who, and I saw it from a Hormozy video. He basically said, like, partner up with somebody who either has the capital that you don't have, or like a skill that you don't have. Maybe like they're better at client acquisition or shooting or something. Like, you both can't be doing the same thing. A great example would be like you and Aaron. Not saying that you guys weren't a great partnership, but it was like you both would go to like the photo shoot together and do the same thing. It's like, no, Aaron, do something else, And it wasn't Aaron's fault. It was just because like you mentioned, building Norman and Young the wrong way, just doing the same thing. But
100%. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna like go out on a limb here and just tell you don't do it with zero context, which I know is kind of a little bit of an ignorant position to take on my end. I think I've seen more issues with partnerships than benefits generally. Not saying you couldn't be, but like I think a lot of people get into a partnership when they're first starting because it makes them feel safe, like they're in this with somebody. And that quickly becomes a disadvantage when the person, especially if you said super into photography, if you were like, they're a killer salesperson, they sell for a living, like, all right, that's good. That's an asset, right? But like photography is not going to help you. So I would just try to take the emotion out of the decision. Be like, well, if I didn't know this person, would I partner with them? Are they adding things to the business that's going to improve it? That kind of thing. So Rod, you're always on time.
What's up, Rod?
Oh, nice, Aaron. Yeah, I was gonna say, Sarah, one thing I meant to add is like we have a terms of service that we give you that talks about like what they can do with the photos and that kind of thing. But it's just like a little different. I see from your profile picture, maybe you're a photographer of some kind. It looks like not like an entry-level camera too. So my guess is you're used to contracts from like another niche. It's really weird how different real estate media is. That's like the number one thing I see that photographers that we help transition are shocked about. Trying to think like what some other things would be that's typical with photographers. I mean, definitely free shoots. That scares photographers because like if you give away free wedding shoots, that's not going to, I don't know if you're a wedding photographer, but this goes for anybody. If you give away free wedding shoots, like that's not going to help your business, right? Because like they're never going to use you again because they already had their wedding. And so there's some things like that. Yeah, do it. Even if you guys just, I would argue that even you competing against each other would benefit you both more than doing it together. David, 2 to 3 days. So we have like a process of first engagement, second engagement, DM, or third engagement, depending on how you do it. Yes, Michael, perfect. That's exactly what I was saying. That's good. I agree. I'm glad someone else agrees. Let's see. I've got at least 10 agencies around me that aren't on Instagram. Do you recommend contacting them, even if in-person pitch, or leave them and focus on other fish in the pond? Okay, so other fish in the pond until finding those other fish becomes more work than going to those agencies. So like exhaust the like 80-20 rule. Don't catch every fish in the pond of Instagram, but like once you've got through 80%, it takes so much longer to find a new one, then transition. But until then, I would suggest not. Yes, sir. I agree, Tyler. I've just seen way too many people that are like, why did I partner with this person? A partnership, if there's a benefit, can be wonderful. Like, for example, I own a bookkeeping company called Abacus. We do bookkeeping for real estate photographers. And I have a partnership with David, who has been our bookkeeper for years. And we saw a need, so we started Abacus. And the partnership is great because I don't do bookkeeping and he does. And he doesn't do marketing and have an audience, and I do. So it's like, it made a whole lot of sense. Like, I don't have to put my time into the business, but what I do is I tell people, hey, Abacus is good. And it is good because that's who we use. That's why we started it. And so it's like, it's easy. I do that. And then David's like, awesome. I don't have to do the marketing. I'll just do my thing, which is being good at bookkeeping. So you want to find a partnership that has balances. That's really good. Video editing. Kenny and I are partners on that, right? He had a lot, when he started it, he had a lot of time. And I didn't have a lot of time, but I had clients that use the service, and then he built this business. And so it's like, that's a great partnership. We crush it. It's a great business. And so, yeah, you want to find a partner that has benefit. I don't think you get a lot of those at the day one partnerships. Like you have to be, I think once you're in, you maybe more so you can't recognize it until you've been in business for a while. I think everybody kind of says that. At least people, like when they talk about partnership, they're like, partnerships are great, but like when I first started, it wasn't a good idea. Because usually the reason you do a partnership when you're first starting is for the security. It's not real security, but you feel good doing it with somebody else. What's up, Mr. Stan? What does your follow-up look like with a client after you deliver photos? I know you try to do an onboarding call right after you deliver, but do you reach out for 2 weeks or a month to make sure that they're happy with the service? Stan, I mean, we personally let it lie unless they're a VIP client, and then we'll check in. I think probably it would be a decent use of, I'm trying to picture it, Norman and Young, like why we wouldn't do that right now when you said that. And it would be because the time to do that would be better spent in finding new clients, especially if we did the onboarding. Because our client retention is very high. So it's like, it goes back to saying it's not broke, don't fix it. Not saying you can't improve things, but like there's always, really what it goes back to is with any business, especially small ones, we have unlimited things we could do, and we have limited resources and time. So my job and the job of anybody running a business is to say, with those limited resources, what's the best use of our time? And so for me, it would be like, let's do more client acquisition because our client retention is already so good because of the onboarding. That would be my argument about why we don't. Also, I hope you're doing well. Let's see. Do you need business insurance? I would recommend it, Ty. You can get pretty cheap, 30 bucks a month, 30 to 50. So I would get it. Excited to work with you, Zach. Looking forward to having you in there. Personally, we have group calls every single day. My group call is on Tuesdays, so I'd love to see you there. And obviously, your coach will help you with the whole process, but I personally would love to see you there. So welcome in.
Paul had a question. I'll put in here. Do you offer vertical shoots to the client for their social media? I'm trying to understand this one. Aaron messaged me to get Paul's question, but are you talking about like as the free shoot? Or
I think what he's saying is, I think he's saying, do you do vertical images for their clients to use on social media? Like,
gotcha.
Yeah.
No. Well,
yeah. That was a good. No.
not for photos. I mean, if you're talking about like vertical reels, yes, definitely. But yeah, no, not for the photos.
Yeah, for photos, they don't really post photos. But what Kenny's saying 100%, a lot of the videos that we sell and then videos we will help you learn are vertical video because like reels, that's what people are watching right now. So absolutely. Did that answer your question, Paul? If not, just let us know.
I feel like we were both confused, mainly me.
Well, when you said that, I was like, I thought I knew what he was saying. And then you said it and I was like, now I don't know what he's saying. I think we got it now. The two wrongs make a right. Not a true statement. But
yes, look at that. Stan was in my group call yesterday and he mentioned, I was like, you're insane. 32 new clients last month.
Stan, well earned, dude. That's awesome. 32 new clients. You know what's funny? We talk, I don't know if we've talked about this, Stan. I talk about it a lot in my forward call, but you actually don't. I'm not saying this to tone it down. Please do not tone it down. But 15 new clients per month is the ideal growth rate, in my opinion. Because if you did 30 new clients every month for 3 months, you'd have, 90 clients? That's like probably like another 15 or 20,000 a month in revenue at your average order value. So congrats, you're in that fast growth. 32 clients is nuts. Tyler rep video editing has my card saved on file. Let's see. Got time for one more question today. Who's a good one? Is Good Photos and Service your customer retention plan, or do you have other systems? Yeah, I think that'd be a good way to sum it up, Kerrigan. Generally, it's going to be Good Photos and Service. I mean, there's systems that contribute to that, right? So there's a lot under customer or service. So like we use Spiro. It has things that clients like, for example, online ordering, online photo delivery, property websites. There's a lot in there. When someone books, we have systems to answer quickly. So they can call, text, email, book online, anything like that. We have an admin who gets back to them. Braylon is our new admin. She's awesome. So we get back to them fast there, which is like kind of a system, right? Everything adds up to service. We have a VIP program for high value customers or high referring customers. So, again, because we have limited resources as any business, we want to focus on the most valuable customers with those limited resources. And so those ones we do check in with and that kind of stuff. But mainly it's just like, if you don't give people a reason to leave, they won't leave. And then if you go on the other side of that and you're like, I give them a bunch of reasons not to leave, that's even better. So that's kind of how we look at it. I hope that answers your question, but no like secret sauce.
Keep it simple. That's what I would say. Just in anything. Good enough photos, good enough videos, good enough everything, and an amazing customer service. As long as you're making their life easy, and easier, they're going to stay with you. They got to love working with you in order to stay with you. Yeah.
There's a book called Amaze Every Customer Every Time. I probably have recommended this before when you've been in the call, Kerrigan, but Amaze Every Customer Every Time by Shep Hyken is a really good book on just like the customer service model that we like and that's helped us grow our businesses. And so, yeah, I would look at that. All right. Well, thanks for being here, everybody. Hope you got a lot of value out of that. If you want to talk with the team more, we obviously we have coaching, but we'd love to just chat with you as well. We're happy to do roadmap calls, answer questions. I know I didn't necessarily get to all the questions in here. So if you want to, you can go to that link, replaunch.com/let's talk. And the team there they're our team, right? So they know real estate media. They know how to diagnose the business. If you're just starting, they can look into your market with you. And again, this isn't like you have to do coaching or we're going to pressure you into coaching. Like we're happy to talk about what coaching looks like. Obviously it's a program I believe in. It's what we built our whole team around. It's what, I'm here once a week, but the rest of it, I'm building that and working with people in there. And so that's like my day job, if you will, now that Norman Young runs itself. But even if you're not, interested in that, grab a call with the team. got great people. Isaac Stolzenberg, Aaron Polakaitis are two people that have been in here during the live. Rod on my team was in here. Andrew Christie might have popped. We have a great team. Super proud of our team. And so let them be a resource to you. Also, there's a bunch of resources that aren't coaching that they can direct you to, whether it's, hey, Eli made this specific video, or we made this training that we'll send you, or there's this resource. Like, use them to your advantage. Like, we've talked to a lot of people who've been in this industry for a while. And so, yeah, I was going to say I highly recommend them, but of course I do. They're my own team. But that's why we all get to work together, because we have a great team. So check it out. Kenny, thanks for being here as always, sir. Everybody else, hope you had a great time. Hope you got some value out of this. I got a bunch of lives you can go watch. You can go binge watch my YouTube videos. Be a sponge. Absorb information. The YouTube videos are free. So go watch a ton of them. And yeah, we look forward to potentially talking to you and working with you. So have a great rest of your day, and we'll see y'all soon.
Not a little.